John Cena, the president America never saw coming. You can't see me, but on that cold November night in 2024, 180 million Americans did see me. On every ballot, on every news channel, in every heated dinner table argument that tore families apart. They saw me become the 47th president of the United States. And what they didn't see was the storm coming next. The Oval Office smells different than you'd think. Not like power, not like leather-bound history books or century-old mahogany. It smells like fear, like the cold sweat of every decision that could save a nation or burn it to the ground. And as I sit here now, my hand trembling over the nuclear codes briefing, I realize something that makes my blood run ice cold. This isn't a wrestling match where you get a rematch next week. This is real. And I might have just made the biggest mistake of my life. The rise nobody expected. Let me take you back. 8 months before Election Day, I'm in my Connecticut home, reading another script for another action movie that'll make another $200 million and mean absolutely nothing. My phone buzzes. It's a number I don't recognize. Mr. Cena, this is Senator Patricia Morrison. We need to talk about your future and America's. I laugh, actually laugh out loud. Senator, I appreciate the call, but I'm not interested in... The country is dying, John. Her voice cuts through my dismissal like a blade. Not slowly, not metaphorically, literally dying. In 3 years, if we don't change course, the economic collapse models show a 73% probability of complete systemic failure. The politicians won't fix it. They can't. They're too invested in the game. But you're different. I'm a wrestler and an actor. I'm not a politician. Exactly. That word hangs in the air, and suddenly, I'm listening. The curiosity gap widens. She tells me about the Third Path Coalition, a secret alliance of Republicans, Democrats, and independents who've been watching the country tear itself apart for profit. They've been searching for someone with 3 specific qualities: name recognition that transcends politics, a reputation for actual integrity, and the courage to stand in the fire. You've granted over 650 Make-A-Wish requests, she says quietly, more than anyone in history. You've spent 20 years building a brand on hustle, loyalty, and respect, not just saying it, but living it. The polling data is unprecedented. You poll higher among Republican veterans than their own candidates. You poll higher among Democratic minorities than their candidates. You're the only person in America with cross-partisan approval ratings above 60%. That's because I don't talk about politics. Exactly, she says again. But what if you did? What if you brought that same authenticity, that same refusal to back down, to the one place that needs it most? I should hang up. I should laugh it off. Instead, I ask, what's the real reason you're calling? Silence. Then, because in 6 months, China and Russia are planning a coordinated financial attack that will make 2008 look like a stock market hiccup. We have intelligence, we have the data, and we have zero faith that the current political establishment will do anything but use it to attack each other while the country burns. Could you ignore that? Would you? The campaign nobody believed. They laughed when I announced, celebrity wrestler enters presidential race. Political experts say he has zero chance. John Cena's presidential bid, the death of serious politics. From you can't see me to you can't lead, why America deserves better. The establishment on both sides united for the first time in decades to destroy me. The Republican machine called me a liberal Hollywood plant. The Democratic machine called me an uneducated meathead with no policy experience. The media ran 24/7 hit pieces, questioning everything from my tax returns to my romantic history to whether my entire career was fake, ironic considering professional politics. But here's what they missed. People were exhausted. Exhausted from being lied to. exhausted from politicians who promised change and delivered only new ways to hate their neighbors, exhausted from being told they had to choose between two pre-selected options they both despised. My first campaign rally was in Pittsburgh. 15,000 people showed up. I walked out. No entrance music, no pyrotechnics, just me in a simple suit. And I said, I'm not here to tell you I have all the answers. I'm here to tell you the truth. This system is broken, and the people running it broke it on purpose. The crowd went silent. You could feel the tension vibrate through the steel rafters. They want you fighting each other, black against white, urban against rural, old against young, because while you're fighting, you're not noticing them looting the treasury, selling your futures to the highest bidder, and laughing all the way to their private islands. I'm not a politician. I don't have their polished lies. But I have something they'll never have. I don't need this job. I don't need the money. I don't need the power. I'm here because someone has to tell you the truth, even if it costs me everything. The roar that followed, I can still feel it in my bones. But the real moment came 3 weeks later, live on national television, the debate stage. My opponents, Senator Richard Callaway, Republican, and Governor Diana Marsh, were seasoned political assassins. They spent the first hour tag-teaming me with practiced precision, trying to expose my inexperience and naivety. Then the moderator asked about healthcare. Callaway launched into his talking points. Marsh countered with hers. The same script, different actors, zero solutions. When my turn came, I didn't go to my podium. I walked to the front of the stage and looked directly into the camera. My father died 3 years ago, I said, my voice cracking despite my best efforts. Lung cancer, stage 4. The doctors found it late because he couldn't afford the screenings. He spent his last 6 months choosing between medication and keeping the electricity on. He died in pain because the system, your system, valued corporate profits over his life. I turned to my opponents. You want to talk about policy? Let's talk about policy. Senator Callaway, your health care plan gives $340 billion in tax breaks to insurance companies over 10 years, while cutting Medicaid by $500 billion. Governor Marsh, your plan sounds beautiful until you realize it's funded by tax increases that fall heaviest on the working class, already struggling to survive. You're both offering different paths to the same destination, suffering for the poor, profits for the powerful. So what's your plan? Callaway sneered. Truth, I said, transparency, and a willingness to tell pharmaceutical CEOs making $30 million a year that their profit margins matter less than my father's life. That's not a detailed policy, that's a moral stance. And if you elect me, I promise you this, I will surround myself with the smartest economists, the most ethical policy experts, and the bravest whistleblowers from inside your broken system. And we will build something that works for people, not corporations. I don't have all the answers tonight, but I have something neither of you have. The willingness to admit it and the courage to find them. The debate hall erupted, not in polite applause, in a standing ovation that lasted 4 minutes while my opponent stood there, exposed. The next morning I was leading in 37 states. The victory nobody prepared for. Election night, November 5th, 2024. I'm in a hotel room in Philadelphia, watching the returns with my small team. Morrison is there, my campaign manager, Carlos, a former Marine who never wanted this circus. My communications director, Amy, who quit the Washington Post to bet on me. The networks can't call it. Too close, too unprecedented. The anchors are struggling to explain how someone with zero political experience is competing with 2 political dynasties. Then Florida falls, then Ohio, then Pennsylvania. At 11:47 p.m., CNN calls it, John Cena, President-elect of the United States. I don't celebrate. I walk to the window and look out at the city, and I think about my father, about every kid I've visited in hospitals, about every veteran I've met who came home to a country that forgot them, about the weight of 330 million lives now resting on shoulders built for performance, not governance. "What have I done?" I whisper. Morrison puts a hand on my shoulder. "You've given them hope. Now let's see if hope is enough." The first 100 days, walking into the fire. Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2025. As I place my hand on the Bible, I look out at the crowd and see something I've never seen at a political event. Unity in diversity. Republican veterans standing next to progressive activists. Rural farmers next to urban teachers. It's beautiful and terrifying because I know what comes next will test every single one of them. My inaugural address is 7 minutes long. No pomp, no soaring rhetoric, just this: I am not your savior. I am your employee. And for the next 4 years, I will work for you with every ounce of strength I have. We will make mistakes. We will face opposition from people who profit from our division. But I promise you this: I will never lie to you. I will never sell you out. And I will never stop fighting for an America that works for all of us, not just the wealthy few. The first crisis hits on day 12. The financial attack Morrison warned me about begins. A coordinated sell-off of U.S. Treasury bonds by China, Russia, and 3 Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds. The market drops 2,400 points in 2 hours. Financial analysts predict total collapse by end of week. I'm in the situation room, surrounded by economists and military advisors, all shouting different solutions. We need to freeze trading. We need to raise interest rates. We need to contact the Fed. We need military response options. Enough! My voice cuts through the chaos. The room goes silent. Everyone out except Treasury Secretary Williams and National Security Advisor Chen. When it's just the three of us, I ask the only question that matters. What would actually work, even if it's politically impossible? Williams looks at Chen. Chen looks at me. "You're not going to like it." I didn't run for president to be liked. Talk. What follows is the most intense 3 hours of my life. We craft a response that involves direct negotiation with Beijing, an emergency cryptocurrency stabilization protocol that hasn't been tested, and a televised address to the American people that could either prevent panic or cause it. At 8 p.m. that night, I sit in the Oval Office, looking at the camera, and I make a choice. My fellow Americans, I'm going to tell you something no president has told you before. We are under attack. Not with missiles, not with troops, with money. Foreign powers are attempting to collapse our economy because they believe we're too divided to respond. They believe our politicians will fight each other instead of fighting for you. And based on the last 20 years, they have good reason to believe that. I lean forward. But here's what they didn't count on. I'm not a politician, and I don't play by their rules. Over the next 72 hours, we're going to implement emergency financial protocols. Your savings are protected. Your pensions are protected. But some people are going to lose money, specifically the institutional investors and hedge funds that have been gambling with your futures. To them, I say this: I don't work for you. I work for the teachers and the truckers and the nurses and the small business owners. And if you have a problem with that, my office number is public. The gamble works. The panic doesn't materialize. The dollar stabilizes. The attack fails. But I've made enemies. Powerful ones. The resistance, when both sides hate you. By day 50, I'm the most opposed president in modern history. Congressional Republicans block every appointment. Congressional Democrats call me a dangerous populist. The media runs coordinated campaigns questioning my mental fitness. Wall Street lobbyists flood Washington with a simple message: remove him before he destroys everything. My approval rating drops to 41%. But here's the interesting part. Among actual voters, not politicians or media, My approval is 63%. The disconnect is staggering. The people love what I'm doing. The establishment is terrified. I push through an executive order requiring price transparency in healthcare. Hospitals and pharmaceutical companies must publish actual costs. The medical industry files 47 lawsuits within a week. I cancel $15 billion in predatory student loans through an emergency debt jubilee. The banking lobby calls it theft. The 2.3 million affected borrowers call it justice. I redirect $50 billion from the defense budget to infrastructure and renewable energy. The military-industrial complex threatens to fund primary challenges against any senator who supports me. And then comes the moment that almost breaks me. A domestic terrorist, radicalized by online conspiracy theories claiming I'm a Chinese plant, attempts to bomb a campaign rally for one of my allied senators in Michigan. 15 people are injured. 2 die. I'm in the Oval Office when I get the news, and for the first time since becoming president, I feel the weight crush me. I put my head in my hands and I cry. Not dignified tears, ugly, broken sobs. Because these are my people. They believed in me, and now they're bleeding because I asked them to. Morrison finds me there an hour later. I can't do this, I tell her. I'm making it worse. You're making it better, she says firmly. But better is painful. Change is violent. The old guard doesn't give up power politely. People are dying, Patricia. People were already dying. They were dying from preventable diseases because they couldn't afford insulin. They were dying from opioids pushed by pharmaceutical companies that paid billions in fines and kept selling. They were dying in wars started for oil profits. The difference is now people care because you made them care. And that's terrifying to the people who profit from apathy. What if I'm not strong enough? She looks at me with something between pity and admiration. John, you've been asking that question since day one. That's why you are strong enough. The dangerous leaders are the ones who never doubt themselves. The choice, principles or survival. Day 88, a secret meeting in Camp David. Senate Majority Leader Preston and House Speaker Martinez, leaders of both parties, have requested an urgent private meeting. No aides, no recordings, no witnesses. I agree against Morrison's advice. We sit in the wood-paneled conference room. They're not hostile. They're somber. Preston speaks first. Mr. President, we're here to offer you a deal. I don't make deals that hurt the American people. Martinez raises a hand. Hear us out. The last 3 months have been destabilizing. Markets are volatile. International relations are strained. The base of both parties is fracturing. We're approaching a constitutional crisis. Get to the point. Preston slides a folder across the table. We'll pass your infrastructure bill. Your healthcare transparency order stands. We'll even support a modified version of your campaign finance reform. In exchange, you moderate. You work within the system. You become presidential. I open the folder. It's a 47-page document outlining exactly how I'm supposed to behave, what policies to abandon, which corporate interests to appease. You want me to become what I campaigned against. We want you to be effective, Martinez says. You can't change the system by destroying it. You change it by working within it, incrementally, patiently. I look at these two people, intelligent, experienced, genuinely believing they're offering wisdom. No, I say. Mr. President, I said no. I stand up. You want to know the difference between me and every politician who came before? They convinced themselves that compromise with corruption was pragmatism, that selling out principles was maturity, that betraying the people who elected them was the reality of governance. I lean on the table, looking them both in the eyes. I don't accept that reality. I reject your assumption that the system can't change. And I refuse to become another politician who made promises to get elected and excuses to break them. So here's my counter offer. Help me actually fix this country or get the hell out of my way. The meeting ends. As I walk back to Marine One, Morrison jogs to catch up. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing you've ever done. Maybe both, I admit. But Patricia, what's the point of winning if I become them? She doesn't answer. Because we both know the real question isn't whether I can survive as president. It's whether the presidency can survive me. The endgame, 100 days. Day 100, the traditional marker of presidential success. My approval among establishment Washington, 12%. My approval among actual Americans, 67%. Number of major reforms passed, 3. Number of reform attempts blocked, 23. Assassination threats received, 47. Nights I've slept more than 4 hours, 8. I'm preparing for the traditional 100-day address, but I'm not going to do it traditionally. Instead of a teleprompter speech in the Oval Office, I'm going live on every platform, traditional media, social media, streaming services, from a factory floor in Detroit. No podium, no flag backdrop, just me standing with workers, talking directly to America. 100 days ago, I made you a promise: truth, transparency, and relentless effort on your behalf. Today, I'm here to give you a report card, and it's not pretty. I detail every success and every failure. The healthcare transparency that's already reducing costs in 12 states. The infrastructure projects that have created 67,000 jobs. The campaign finance bill that died in committee. The climate proposal blocked by fossil fuel lobbyists. Here's what I've learned. The system isn't broken by accident. It's broken by design. It's designed to resist change. It's designed to protect the powerful. It's designed to exhaust anyone who challenges it until they either give up or give in. I pause, feeling the weight of every eye in America on me. So here's my question for you. What do you want me to do? I can play by their rules. I can moderate, compromise, become presidential in the way they define it. I'll get some small wins, make some incremental progress, and in 4 years or 8 years, you'll look around and realize nothing fundamental has changed. Or I can keep fighting, keep breaking norms, keep pushing harder than any president has pushed. I'll make more enemies. I'll face more opposition. I might even fail, but at least you'll know I tried, really tried, to give you the government you deserve instead of the government you're used to. The choice isn't mine anymore. It's yours. Do you want incremental comfort or revolutionary change? Do you want a president who makes you feel safe or one who makes you proud? Do you want me to survive or to fight? I let the question hang in the air, watching the workers around me, seeing my father in their eyes. Here's what I believe. America isn't great because of our politicians. America is great because of our people. And you deserve leaders willing to risk everything for you the same way you risk everything for your families every single day. So I'm asking you to do something unprecedented. Organize. Not for me, for each other. Build coalitions in your communities. Primary every politician who puts corporate donors over constituents. Run for local office. Run for state office. Run for Congress. Take this energy and turn it into a movement that outlasts any single president. Because here's the secret they don't want you to know. They only have power because we give it to them, and we can take it back. The address goes viral. Within 6 hours, it's been viewed 340 million times. Within 48 hours, grassroots organizations in all 50 states have registered 2.1 million new volunteers. The revolution I started by winning isn't about me anymore. It's about us. Epilogue. The fight continues. It's 2 a.m. I'm back in the Oval Office, exhausted but unable to sleep. There's a folder on my desk marked Classified, Eyes Only. It's the latest intelligence briefing on emerging threats. I open it. What I read makes my blood run cold. Information about deepening crises I can't share yet. Challenges that will test everything I've built. Choices that will define whether this presidency is remembered as a brave failure or a transformative success. But that's a story for another day. I close the folder and look at the photo on my desk. My father, smiling, before the cancer, before the system failed him. "I'm trying, Dad," I whisper. "I'm really trying." My phone buzzes. A text from Morrison. "Senate just announced emergency vote on your judicial nominees. They're going to try to block all of them. War room in 20 minutes. I stand up, rolling my shoulders the way I did before every wrestling match, every action scene, every moment when I had to be more than I thought I could be. The fight isn't over. It's just beginning. And America is watching. Can you see me now? To be continued.